Jake Torres wiped the sweat from his forehead as he floated through the dark corridors of the abandoned ship. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing empty rooms and broken equipment. Someone had already stripped this vessel clean. The pirates had taken everything valuable and left only trash behind. He was about to give up and return to his own ship when he heard it. A sound so strange and sad that it made him stop moving. It was like singing but also like crying. The sound came from deep within the cargo hold. Jake pulled himself through the narrow passage, his magnetic boots clicking against the metal floor. The air grew colder as he descended. His breath formed small clouds in front of his face. The life support system was failing. Whatever made that sound would not survive much longer. The cargo hold doors were sealed, but Jake was a mechanic. He knew ships like other people knew their own homes. Within minutes he had the doors open. The sound grew louder, more desperate. His flashlight revealed something impossible. A massive creature lay on the floor, wrapped in chains that glowed with a blue electric light. She was easily 20 feet long, with scales that shimmered even in the dim light. Her body was thin, too thin. Jake could see her ribs beneath her scales. 2 large wings were folded against her sides, trapped by more glowing chains. But it was her eyes that made Jake freeze. They were intelligent eyes. Aware eyes. Eyes that held pain and fear and something else. Hope maybe. Or perhaps a plea. The creature made that keening sound again, and Jake saw movement beneath her wing. Something small stirred there, hidden in the shadow of her body. Jake slowly approached, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. The creature watched him with those knowing eyes. She was too weak to threaten him, too exhausted to fight. But she shifted her body slightly, protecting whatever hid beneath her wing. Jake knelt down, moving carefully. The creature's breathing was shallow and labored. He could see dried blood on her scales where the chains had cut into her flesh. His chest tightened with anger. What kind of monster would do this? He looked at the chains more closely. Kruvian energy restraints. Military grade. Expensive. This was not some accident. Someone had chained this creature on purpose and then abandoned her here to die. The small thing beneath her wing moved again and Jake caught a glimpse of it. Another creature much smaller. Baby. Its scales were pale and dull. Its eyes were barely open. Jake's heart sank. The mother was dying. The baby would not last much longer. He stood up and pressed the communicator on his wrist. His ship's computer answered immediately. I need the medical scanner. No. And bring the emergency supplies. The creature watched him as his small robot assistant flew into the cargo hold carrying equipment. Jake worked quickly, scanning both creatures. The results made his stomach turn. The mother had maybe 3 days left. The baby had hours, not days. Jake looked at the creature again. She was still watching him. Waiting. He could leave right now. This was not his problem. These creatures were probably illegal cargo. Helping them could mean trouble with the authorities. Could mean losing his salvage license. Could mean prison. The baby made a weak sound, barely a whisper. Jake knelt down again and began examining the chains. Okay, he said quietly, more to himself than to the creature. Let's get you out of these things. The creature's eyes never left his face. For the first time in hours, Jake thought he saw something change in her expression. Relief perhaps. Or maybe just the smallest spark of trust. Jake stared at the glowing chains. He had worked on hundreds of ships, fixed thousands of machines, but Kruvian military restraints were different. They were designed to never break. One wrong move and they could explode, killing everything nearby. His hands shook slightly as he pulled out his tools. The mother creature watched him work. Every few minutes, she would look down at her baby and make a soft humming sound. The baby barely responded. I know, Jake muttered. I'm going as fast as I can. He ran a scanner over the chains, studying their energy pattern. There had to be a weak point somewhere. Everything had a weakness. The scan showed him what he needed. The restraints were connected to a small control unit on the far wall. If he could hack into it, he might be able to shut them down. Jake moved to the wall panel and opened it. Wires and circuits filled the space inside. He began rerouting the power, his fingers moving quickly. Sweat dripped into his eyes, but he did not stop to wipe it away. The mother creature made a louder sound. Jake looked back and saw the baby had stopped moving completely. Its tiny chest barely rose and fell. No, Jake whispered. He worked faster, connecting wires, bypassing safety systems. This was dangerous. If he made one mistake, the whole system could overload. A spark flew from the panel. Jake jerked his hand back but kept working. Behind him, the chains flickered. The blue glow became weaker. With a final connection, the chains went dark. They fell away from the mother's body with a heavy clanking sound. For a moment nothing happened. The mother creature lay still as if she could not believe she was free. Then slowly, painfully, she lifted her head. She looked at Jake with those intelligent eyes. Jake expected her to stand up, to roar, to maybe attack him. Instead, she did something that made his throat tight. She gently pushed her baby toward him with her nose. The gesture was clear. She was asking him to help her child first. Jake grabbed his medical supplies and rushed to the small creature. It was cold, so cold. He wrapped it in a thermal blanket and attached a small 4-unit to its leg. The baby did not even react to the needle. "Come on, little one," Jake whispered. "Stay with me." He ran back to his ship and brought back his food synthesizer. He had no idea what these creatures ate, but he had to try something. He started with basic proteins and minerals, mixing them into a liquid form. The mother watched everything he did. When Jake brought the food near her baby, she sniffed it carefully. Then she made a low rumbling sound and nudged the container closer to the baby's mouth. Jake carefully dripped the liquid into the baby's mouth. At first nothing happened. Then the small creature swallowed. Its eyes opened slightly. "That's it," Jake said, relief flooding through him. "Good. That's good." He prepared more food for the mother. She was too weak to stand, but she drank gratefully when he brought the container to her. As she drank, Jake set up a portable heater and connected his ship's oxygen supply to the cargo hold. The temperature slowly began to rise. Hours passed. Jake talked to the creatures constantly as he worked, his voice steady and calm. "You're going to be okay. Both of you. I promise." The mother's breathing became stronger. The baby's scales began to show more color. They were going to survive. Jake was attaching another 4-bag when his ship's computer spoke through his communicator. "Warning. 3 Kruvian patrol ships detected. They are approaching this location. Estimated arrival time, 12 minutes. Jake looked at the mother creature. She was watching him again, and somehow he knew she understood. They both understood. Someone had reported the stolen cargo. Someone was coming to take her back. Jake made his decision in seconds. He could not leave them. He would not leave them. "Can you move?" he asked the mother creature. She looked at him with those knowing eyes and slowly stood up. Her legs shook, but she stayed standing. She picked up her baby gently in her mouth, like a cat carrying a kitten. "Follow me. Quickly." Jake ran through the corridors back to his ship. The mother creature moved behind him, her claws clicking on the metal floor. She was massive, barely fitting through some passages. Jake had to cut through walls in 2 places to make room for her. His ship was small, designed for 1 person. The cargo bay was tiny. But the mother creature squeezed herself inside, folding her wings tight against her body. She placed her baby down carefully and looked at Jake. "Hold on," Jake said. He sealed the cargo bay and ran to the cockpit. His hands flew over the controls. The ship's engines roared to life. Through his window, he saw 3 Kruvian ships appear in the distance. Their weapons were already charging. Jake pushed the hyperspace jump button. His ship lurched forward and the stars stretched into lines. Then they were gone, jumping through space faster than light itself. He let out a long breath and leaned back in his chair. They were safe. For now. But his computer screen showed a new message. It made his blood run cold. There was a bounty on his head. 5 million credits. The Kruvians wanted him alive. They wanted their cargo back even more. Jake was now a criminal. A fugitive. There was no going back. He went to check on his passengers. The mother creature had made herself as comfortable as possible in the small space. Her baby was snuggled against her, breathing more easily now. The mother watched Jake enter. "I'm Jake," he said, pointing to himself. "Jake." The creature tilted her head. Then something strange happened. Jake felt something in his mind. Not words exactly, but feelings. Images. He saw a beautiful planet with purple skies. He saw thousands of creatures like her, flying through crystal forests. He saw her name not as a word but as a feeling. Thesseria. "Thesseria," Jake said out loud. The creature's eyes brightened. She nodded her head. Over the next hours, Thesseria showed Jake many things through these mental images. He saw her world, Draconix Prime. He saw how ships came in the night and took her people away. He saw council representatives declaring her species as animals, not intelligent beings. He saw corruption and lies and greed. Jake felt sick. This was not just smuggling. This was slavery. This was genocide. Thesseria showed him her baby's name too. Lissa. The small creature was sleeping now, her scales growing brighter as she healed. Jake pulled up his communicator and contacted the only person he could trust. Dr. Sarah Chin, a scientist at a human research station near the border. They had worked together before. Sarah, I need help. Big help. I have 2 passengers who are going to change everything we know about the galaxy. What kind of passengers? Sarah's voice crackled through the speaker. The kind that proves the council has been lying for decades. There was silence. Then Sarah spoke again. How far away are you? 3 days at full speed. I'll prepare a secure bay. Jake, if this is what I think it is, you're in serious danger. I know. Jake looked at Thesseria. She was watching him with trust in her eyes. Trust he had earned. But it's worth it. Thesseria made a sound, low and rumbling. Jake felt warmth in his mind. Gratitude. Friendship. We're going to fix this, Jake told her. I promise you. The whole galaxy is going to know the truth. Thesseria closed her eyes and began teaching Jake to understand her language. They had 3 days. 3 days before the hunters found them again. Jake's ship docked at Dr. Chen's research station just before dawn. Sarah was waiting for him in the secure bay, her eyes wide as Thesseria emerged from the cargo hold. Little Lissa walked beside her mother now, stronger and curious about everything. My God, Sarah whispered. They're beautiful. Thesseria lowered her head toward Sarah, studying her. Then Jake felt the warm feeling in his mind that meant Thesseria was sharing thoughts. Sarah gasped and touched her temple. Did I just feel her in my head? She's telepathic, Jake explained. Well, empathic. She shares feelings and images. She's been teaching me. Sarah moved closer, her scientist mind already racing. Can you show me more? She asked Thesseria directly. Over the next 2 days, Sarah documented everything. She recorded Thesseria using tools to fix a broken piece of equipment. She watched as Lissa solved complex puzzles meant for adult humans. She listened as Thesseria hummed mathematical formulas that Sarah recognized from advanced physics. This is incredible, Sarah said, reviewing her data. Jake, they're not just intelligent. They're as smart as we are. Maybe smarter in some ways. Jake nodded. He had known this from the moment he saw Thesseria's eyes. Sarah, we need to find out who declared them non-sentient. And why? Sarah pulled up Galactic Council records on her computer. She searched for hours, digging through old files and reports. What she found made her angry. The representative who classified the Draken species was named Volnax, a Kruvian politician. And look at this. She pointed to financial records. He owns 40% of the largest exotic animal trading company in the galaxy. He's been making billions from selling Thesseria's people. He knew they were intelligent, Jake said, his fists clenched. He knew and he did it anyway. Thesseria made a low growling sound. She understood. Jake felt her rage through their mental connection. But also her sadness. So many of her people were still in cages, still being sold. We need to go public, Sarah said. Take this to Earth. Humans have enough political power to demand a council investigation. But before they could make plans, alarms blared throughout the station. Unauthorized ships approaching, the computer announced. 4 vessels. Armed. Bounty hunters. Jake grabbed his weapon. Get Thesseria and Lissa to the secure room. Now. But Thesseria did not move. She pushed Lissa behind her and walked toward the bay doors. Her scales began to glow brighter and brighter. Blue lightning danced across her body. Thesseria, no! Jake shouted. The bay doors exploded inward. 6 bounty hunters rushed in, their weapons raised. They fired energy blasts at Thesseria. But something impossible happened. The energy blasts stopped in midair, frozen like they had hit an invisible wall. Thesseria roared, and the blue lightning around her body expanded outward in a wave. Every weapon the bounty hunters carried went dead. Their armor's power systems failed. Even their ships outside began to shut down, systems failing one by one. Thesseria had created an electromagnetic pulse, but somehow controlled and directed. She had disabled everything electronic around her without harming the station itself. The bounty hunters stood frozen, terrified. Thesseria moved toward them slowly, her eyes glowing. They ran, scrambling back to their powerless ships. Sarah stared in shock. She can control energy fields. She can interface with technology directly. Jake understood immediately. That's why Volnax declared them non-sentient. If the Council knew the Draken could do this, they would have to give them full member status. They might even become one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. He buried the truth to protect his profits, Sarah said. Thesseria came back to them and touched Jake's hand with her nose. He felt her message clearly. It was time to stop hiding. Time to fight back. Okay, Jake said. We go to Earth. We tell everyone. And we make sure Volnax pays for what he's done. The journey to Earth was the most dangerous 3 weeks of Jake's life. Ships hunted them everywhere they jumped. Kruvian warships, bounty hunter fleets, and mysterious vessels with no identification. They all wanted Thesseria and Lissa back in chains. But Jake was not alone. Sarah sent out Thesseria's story to every news network she could reach. She uploaded videos of Thesseria solving problems, of Lissa speaking simple words in human language, of the proof that they were intelligent beings. The story spread like fire across human space. Millions of people watched. They saw the chains. They saw the scars. They saw a mother protecting her child. And they were angry. When Jake's ship finally reached Earth, thousands of human vessels formed a protective wall around him. No bounty hunter dared attack. Earth's defense fleet escorted Jake directly to the capital. The United Nations granted them immediate asylum. The Secretary General herself met them at the landing pad. News cameras from 100 worlds recorded everything. "Welcome to Earth," she told Thesseria. "You are safe here." Thesseria bowed her head in respect. Then she spoke, her voice rough and accented but clear. "Thank you. Your people have kind hearts." The cameras went crazy. The whole galaxy heard a Draken speak for the first time. Within days, the UN called for an emergency Galactic Council session. The evidence was undeniable. Sarah's documentation, the videos, the testimony of dozens of witnesses. Representative Volnax tried to block the meeting, but even his allies abandoned him when they saw the proof. The council chamber was enormous, filled with representatives from 200 species. Jake stood beside Thesseria as she walked to the center platform. Lissa stayed close to her mother, nervous but brave. "Members of the council," Thesseria began, her voice echoing through the chamber. "My name is Thesseria of Draconix Prime. For 50 years you have called my people animals. You have hunted us, captured us, sold us. But we are not animals. We are a civilization. We have language, art, science, and dreams. We feel love and pain just as you do." She showed them images, projected into their minds through her empathic abilities. Every council member saw Draconix Prime as it once was. Beautiful, peaceful. They saw the raids that destroyed her world. They saw cubs torn from parents. They saw death and suffering. "Hundreds of my people still live," Thesseria continued. "They hide in caves and forests, afraid to be seen. They wait for justice that never came. Today I ask you, will you give us that justice? Or will you prove that your council stands for nothing?" The chamber was silent. Then the human representative stood. "I move that the Draken be recognized as a sentient species with full rights and council membership." One by one, other representatives stood in agreement. When the vote came, it was overwhelming. Only a handful voted against it, mostly Volnax's corrupt allies. Volnax himself was arrested as he tried to flee the chamber. His trading empire collapsed overnight. His assets were seized. Hundreds of captive Draken were freed from illegal zoos and private collections. Thesseria was offered the position of Draken ambassador. She accepted with tears in her eyes. The council offered Jake rewards too. Money, medals, a position in Earth's diplomatic corps. Jake refused everything except one thing. A legal salvage license to search for more captive Draken across the galaxy. 6 months later, Jake's ship was larger now with a proper crew. Humans and Draken worked together, following leads and rumors. Lissa had grown bigger and insisted on joining every mission. She spoke 5 languages now and could hack most security systems. Jake was studying a new distress signal when Thesseria entered the cockpit. She had learned to smile in the human way. "Another one?" she asked in perfect English. "Looks like it." 3 Draken being transported through the outer rim. Thesseria placed her clawed hand on Jake's shoulder. "Then let us go save them, my friend." Jake smiled and set the coordinates. There was still work to do. Still chains to break. But now they were not alone. The galaxy was finally paying attention. And together they would free every last one.